All right, we're looking at logic fallacies, and this is the hasty generalization. So, defining our terms, hasty means quickly, fast, too fast. It means to be done quickly without much thought. And a generalization means to look at something generally, but not in specific. So, to generalize means to take one small piece of something and then apply your analysis of that small piece to the whole, regardless of whether or not the whole is representative of the qualities of that small piece. So this is based on insufficient and or biased evidence. You're rushing to a conclusion. You're assuming that you have the relevant facts, but you may have just a small piece of the data necessary to make a logical determination. Here's an example. Even though it's only the first game, I can tell the Padres are going to be horrible this season. Now, for many of you who follow baseball, if you do at all, this might not seem like a hasty generalization because it usually bears out truth. But every once in a while, the Padres are good, kind of like this year. And so if they lost their first game, let's say 10-0, you might say, oh, God, they're going to be so bad this year. But that would be a hasty generalization. So this is an example of basing a prediction for a long season, 162 game season, on what happens that first game, which isn't in any way indicative of the performance of any team in any sport, especially throughout a baseball season which has a bunch of different stages where, like the summertime, people get hurt. You've got the trade deadline. It's all sorts of things that happen during the course of a 6-7 month baseball season that might change the trajectory of that team's season. So to make a fair and reasonable evaluation, you've got to have more data, and that means more games to base your assumptions on. It can go a different way too. You can say, based on how much fun our first distance learning class was, I can tell this is going to be an awesome school year. So it doesn't have to be a bad thing. The assumption, the generalization, the conclusion that you're rushing to doesn't necessarily have to be a bad conclusion. It can be a good one too. It doesn't matter what direction it goes in. It just matters that what you're doing is you're taking a small piece of evidence, a small piece of data, and pointing to it being representative of a much larger concept. So don't rush to judgment. Don't hastily generalize small bits of data and try to pass them off as evidence for a larger concept. That is hasty generalization.